here in the Hub Culture Studio, Davos 2023. I'm very pleased to be joined by Jeanett Bergan, Chief Sustainability Officer at Aker. Thank you for coming along.
Thank you for having me.
So, climate has, as always in the last few years, been on the agenda here in Davos. I wonder how you're thinking about the climate transition, given where you are. Tell me about Aker and its commitment towards the transition.
Yes, Aker is an industrial investment company, traditionally and a long history of oil and gas on the Norwegian continental shelf. And but over the last, I would say, years, we've really built up the transition work within Aker, building on always kind of working to build on the shoulders of old businesses that Aker has, trying to spin off new. So very actively now engaging in renewable energy, climate solution, carbon capture and storage, and more.
Tell me a little bit about some of the commitments you've made in terms of coming off of oil and gas or transitioning into other forms of fuel.
Yes, so as we are an owner of companies holding kind of big ownership shares in the different companies, we are working across the portfolio. So we are engaging our portfolio companies to set climate targets and emissions reduction targets. But we are still we're still active in the oil and gas because energy security is still very important, and we need particularly gas, but also oil for many years to come still, and it's important to kind of build a bridge as well, and kind of not tear down your house before you build a new one, as more than I have said over the last couple of years. So that's an important message as well. But we are taking kind of the income from the oil and gas business and deploying it into renewable energy climate solutions.
So let's talk about some of those climate solutions and renewable energy. Give me a little more specifics on what you're doing.
Yeah, so we're building, solar, wind, offshore floating wind is something that is really important to us.
That's interesting. And how much is that going to be a part of Norway or the world's energy?
Well, it's a very important part of the emission-free future. So it will be a significant share. Aker has a very long history in building a lot of the floating constructions. We have built around 60% of the floating big constructions that are out there globally.
Wow.
Within our construction and service business. So Aker Solutions. So we have a long experience in that, and also subsea. And we're working also on exciting technologies on zero emission underwater power station, which is actually using gas for electricity without emissions.
Interesting.
And why that is so important is because, renewables has its, weaknesses in terms of it's not blowing all the time and it's not sun all the time. So we need, we need sources that can balance that and also give the necessary tension in the power system. And so that is really exciting technologies.
That's interesting. Where's that? Or is that still under development?
It's under development. We have some exciting pilots going on, working on that a lot. What is going on and currently under construction is our carbon capture activities. And we're in Norway. We're building the world's biggest carbon capture facility on Heidelberg Cement's factory,
where
we will capture 400,000 tons of CO2 annually. The carbon will go to permanent storage in the North Sea.
Fantastic. Tell me a little bit about your background, because you've been in sustainability for quite a while. What drew you to Aker?
Yes, I've been in sustainability for 25 years. I started off calling companies in, a quite famous Norwegian insurance company called Storebrand, very recognized for its sustainability work. Started there when I was 20, calling companies, you have an environmental policy. That time, not that many companies had.
Tough job.
Yeah, and then it evolved from environment and climate at that time, because climate was still something that was talked about a little bit at that time. But then it also moved to include human rights and all of those other issues. And I've been then an institutional investor for many years in Storebrand, but also in KLP. And I've also done some consulting work in PwC and KPMG. Right. So I have a quite strong background in that. But yeah, so when the opportunity in Aker came, it was really nice to, do something else, have a different kind of ownership activity, be more active, more close to the companies, have bigger influence. As an institutional investor, you can have a lot of impact because you can be very principled, you can be vocal, whereas you as an majority owner of a company or a significant ownership share, you need to be more working closer with the companies, closer to technology, closer to the industry.
Interesting.
So it's very nice to experience both. And I mean, with Aker, it's it's transitioning and kind of the whole how much they're doing in kind of building up the renewables, the climate solutions. In addition to what I've just mentioned, we've hired the former CEO of the Norwegian government pension fund, Mr. Yngve Slyngstad, and he is building up our asset management arm. It will be a net zero investment platform, from venture capital to private equity to listed equity and industrial and infrastructure. And he has set some high ambitions, which we fully support. He will raise 100 billion euros for the net zero transition within 2027 to finance the transition. So,
not small numbers.
Not small numbers. And to be part of that is just, I'm just very grateful and, trying to do as much as I can, to impact the transition and drive it forward.
Thank you very much, Jeanett, for stopping by the Hub Culture Studio. Fascinating to hear about Norway, the climate, where we're going. Thank you very much.